Thank you, Steve. Protests were held across the world this weekend to show support for an Iranian mom who's been sentenced to death for allegedly committing adultery. But despite the international pressure, the mom of two could still be executed at any moment by stoning. And now there's word that Iranian officials are demanding the names of those involved in the campaign for her release. Lisa Daftari is a journalist specializing in Iranian and Iranian-American affairs. Good morning to you, Lisa.
Good morning.
All right, so we've spoken to you before about this terrible situation. This mom over in Iran, she may be stoned to death, which is such a brutal and archaic way for somebody to have to die. But now there's this new thing that's come in the last 24 hours, a 20-day decision time period, right?
Right. The regime has announced that they will make a decision about her case in 20 days. And the scary thing is that within these 20 days, she might be stoned, she might be hanged. And, you know, it just is another example of the regime trying to buy more time when they're cornered and under international pressure.
The interesting thing is, though, you know the Iranian situation better than most. Do you think that the international pressure is doing something? Because for them to say, hey, yeah, we're going to give this another 20 days, I mean, if there hadn't been this international pressure, they might have just gone ahead and killed her, right?
Well, it just, you know, we can't trust anything they say, because within these 20 days she might disappear, they might kill her anyway. I think what the regime had, when they originally announced that she wouldn't be stoned, they kind of regret making that decision, because it seems as though they've backed down and seem cowardly because of what they call Western propaganda. And because of these human rights movements, the Facebook movement and the petitions online, I think the Iranian regime has just wanted to take a step back and kind of avoid the spotlight for now. But we don't know. They might just surprise us, as they usually do when they ask to buy more time.
We were just looking at that horrible statistic that in 2009, Iran had at least 388 people executed. That's only #2 in the world after China, right?
Right, it's only #2 in the world after China. If you take populations into account, it's probably #1. And Sakineh it's not just Sakineh. She's become an icon because she represents so many of the people who are wrongfully executed in Iran. And her movement and this entire human rights movement, it's more symbolic than that. It represents human rights violations,
right,
violations against women, and all these executions. And I think the question that the Iranians are asking is, where is the international community now? Why are they only extending a hand to or questioning our government when it comes to our nuclear program? Why aren't they worrying about us now with our human rights violations and all the wrongful deaths that we experience here?
Let me ask you this, because you would know better than most. There are reports coming out that one of her children now has been summoned to the Iranian intelligence offices in the last couple of weeks, and they no doubt want to try and get information from him. We've done a lot of stories about people who are imprisoned in Iran, and they basically want them to give false confessions, right? So what kind of information do you think that they want her children to give them?
Well, I think what they're trying to do is make an example out of their children and say, why did you make a case out of her story? Why did you go to the international community? And not only was her son summoned twice by police, but her attorney as well was summoned to the prison to be questioned twice by intelligence agents as well. Again, the regime is trying to make an example out of the situation.
Right.
I don't know if they're trying to get information, but what they're trying to say to the Iranian people is, don't extend the hand out to the international community for help. What happens here should just stay here.
Good point. Lisa Daftari, as always, thanks for your insights.
Thank you.